Hello and welcome to the Midweek podcast of First Baptist Sweetwater. My name is Jerry Hendricks, and fresh back from his back-to-school shopping, Teak Hamilton.
Yes.
You were doing back-to-school shopping.
I was. Not for me.
But not for himself.
Right.
That's our good friend Teak Hamilton for you. Yeah, this week is Adopt an Educator, and we've been filling gift bags with gift cards, and whoops, I guess word's out.
It's all right.
It will be a really cool T-shirt that we did this year, and so Teak adopted a couple of educators. He's been out buying a few extra things.
Yep.
And
filling the bags.
Delivering later today, right?
Delivering later today. Yep.
Yeah. So Teak has been doing his back-to-school shopping.
Yes.
After this, you're about done, aren't you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, most definitely.
For sure. Well, it's crazy. Drove by the high school this morning. All the cars were there for their convocation at Sweetwater ISD. And
I saw our friend Toby.
You right? Oh,
He
yeah.
was there.
You told me that. And so one of our mutual longtime friends teaches here in Sweetwater. And then so I said this morning in our staff time that it's the most normal I have felt since spring break.
Yes.
In terms of just the emotion or feeling. Now,
what you're seeing outside and things like that.
I'm afraid it's all going to come crashing down about 2 weeks into school.
Yeah.
But or it's going to be, I don't know, something all new, I guess.
Yeah.
Since
I think there's going to be a lot of new.
Yeah, to putting all this together. But anyways, I live with two educators. Teak lives with an educator. There's been a lot of talk about this semester and what that's going to look like, and we don't know for sure. Every school district has a bit of a different approach to it. I talked to my sister yesterday about their schools, and so anyways, we're just going to roll the dice and do this school thing.
It's a fluid situation.
Teak has been trying to bring back the word fluid, which we overused the first 2 weeks of the pandemic,
or 5, 6,
or 5 or 6 weeks. Anyways,
it's about time for it to come back.
No, I think we've moved on from that one. But anyways, so here we are on a Tuesday afternoon, trying to change up our schedule just a little bit to do better work for the fall semester.
Right.
And sprung this today and decided we'll just go through with this and make this happen.
See if it works.
Yeah, speaking of things changing, we're in between series.
Right.
We wrapped up Abundant Living on Live Abundant.
Right, there we go.
I realized through the course of the series I said it in a number of ways.
And it's on your shirt.
And it's on my T-shirt, and so there you go. We're wrapping up this series. It was really good to think through some Old Testament characters, let them speak into our life, kind of do some, reflection, evaluation of kind of what we see in their life that we would like to see in our own. So it was a good finish, I felt like, on Sunday.
Definitely. Yeah, Moses is probably the most well-known character in all of the Old Testament, I would assume.
Right. You unless you're looking at it or just have looked at it, you forget how much is dedicated to his life and work in the Bible, and there's a lot that's covered there.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Yeah.
How you fit that into that time period, I'll never know.
Yeah, well that in reflection, which I used that word Sunday, I talked about reflecting. It's one of those things. If looking back on that one, I think I said last week, I don't feel like I'm a good storyteller anyway, and to try to capture enough of that story to move forward and to make a point was challenging for me. So I'm going to steer clear of that format in the future, I think.
Or for a while.
Yeah, until I fall into a trap again. Yeah, do something. But we did. It was a good series, a good P3 experience, and as we look back on evaluating some of the things that we've done during this weird time, it's I don't know. I know obviously it's been interesting, but it's been very good for us to be challenged and think through how we want to do things.
Very productive, and I think it's been good because it doesn't let you do things the same, and that's a tendency of the church in general, not just First Baptist Sweetwater, but in church in general. that we get comfortable and we like things to be the same, and we like to know the order that it's going to happen in the worship service. We like to know the exact time that the offering plate is going to be passed. We like to know, what the office hours are, things like that. But this forced you outside of that traditional repetition, I guess,
Right.
and made you look at things fresh and see what life could be. And
Right.
so it's more positive, the more positive side of the pandemic, I guess.
Right. It's one of those things. I think the healthy side of it for me was getting that place where it was an option day. Everything was optioned.
Right.
That you could put something together, but you wanted to make sure that you had a second or third option
Right.
if something didn't work out. And it took a while to get accustomed to that, but I think we're in that world now and operating in so many different ways with that, whether it's getting dinner somewhere or running errands, whatever it is that
Right.
we find ourselves doing. But as we look into the fall, there's a lot of things that I tend to wire, I think, my life and rhythm around an emotion, and I love the fall semester.
Right.
And the push that we get from bringing folks back from school and kind of regathering and moving into a semester of school. You see the transition of new kids. We had one who was here Sunday, one of our graduates, that I didn't get to finish up conversation with, but I'm assuming that we might not see her again for a few weeks.
She said that was her last Sunday.
And so that's been more difficult because we've not been able to really experience that to the same degree that we have in a normal year. And then, but today I got excited thinking about the new kids that are making transition
Right.
into student ministry, and so yeah, it's still a very fun time.
With school starting, it's exciting because we now know that spring break is over. There we go. I was waiting for that.
I see what you did there. I probably it was bad timing on my part to take a sip of water, but and it would have taken me a while for it to soak in anyway. But with a little sip there, it was a little.
I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
We took, and I think everything's getting back to it because over spring break we went to see the Spurs play the Mavs in San Antonio. We went to watch a soccer game. New Year's Day we went and watched a hockey game in the Cotton Bowl, and now all those sports are back, and typically they wouldn't be going on right now. So it's really. It's still jumbled, but it's fun and it's exciting, and it's like we've finally gotten over this long delay and we're getting some semblance of normal back. We'll see how that works out.
Right. Well, it is an interesting time. So Sunday we started a new series called At the Table. That kind of started from looking at the message calendar, the conversation calendar that we put together, and noticed that we had scheduled a day in November prior to the Sunday prior to Thanksgiving for a worship time called At the Table, where we would take communion and think forward. We've done this before after Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving, you've got that feeling of everyone being around the table and
Right.
meal and food and all that celebration. And so it just struck me, and so I kind of moved some things around and just bounced it off you guys that didn't it seem right to talk about, let's come to the table,
Right.
whatever that table looks like over the next few weeks, to kind of bring that regathering, at least as a mindset, as a part of our spiritual formation, even though we might not be literally gathering.
Right.
But we're looking forward to this series. One of the things that I'm striving to do during this series that we don't normally do is to plan an exercise each week that a person could either do on their own, with their spouse, or with their family. And this week it's going to focus on the table, and to kind of set up that mindset and series of discussion, because my hunch is most all of us have a table at our house.
We do.
More than one in some cases, maybe a breakfast table and a dining table.
We do not. But what ours makes up for in not having two, ours is really tall.
Okay.
So we have a tall table.
Yeah, a tall table.
So, yeah.
Well, the table in someone's home means something different to all of us. We've talked to some about the things that, the role that the table plays in their home. For some people, it's just a place to stack things, which I have to confess to that one in our, that's what it's become with Sharon and I in the house that we live in.
But that's only half of our table.
The other half, okay, see, yeah.
We have the half where we can eat, and then we have the stack on the the other half.
See, there you go.
When you got a 4-person table and 2 people.
I've not been creative enough.
Yeah, that's what we do. The stacks get really tall, though.
Yeah. Well, but most all of us have a table in our home, and that table serves a purpose, and that purpose varies for everyone. But there usually is at least some time, even if it's at Thanksgiving or Christmas or a special occasion, where you're gathered around that table.
Right.
And when you gather around that table, you're usually there with friends, people that you know, and it's something that's meaningful, maybe even a celebration. But we're going to look at times where Jesus ate with people.
Okay.
And this week we're talking about the story of Zacchaeus, and I believe that Jesus invites himself to his house.
Yeah, come into your house.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, but it's probably a little different when Jesus said, "Hey, I'm coming over for lunch."
You don't have to provide the kale salad.
Yeah.
I already can do loaves and fishes if needed.
There you go.
But I'm coming over.
So that's going to kick this series off, talking about that. So you might want to look ahead into that story, and then we'll be talking about he has a meal with Matthew, the disciple, when he calls him to follow him. He goes and eats at his house. A little problematic, I suppose, that as he sets the tone for his ministry, that Jesus doesn't eat with people who are just like him all the time. And then the next one is the feeding of the 5,000, and so we'll be taking a look at that. And then we'll wrap it up on the last Sunday of August with a time of communion. And so communion for us typically is done in worship, as a part of worship, and this is going to be done different.
Good.
We'll have a time, a way that we do it here for those who worship with us live, but also provide a way for people to participate in that special experience while at home. There's been a lot of debate about this in our circle, our theological circles and friends, because we've talked about it early in the pandemic, but opted not to do it. Anyway, so looking forward to this series and thinking about what it means to come to the table, to be at the table with Jesus. And so I'm really excited about it and look forward to seeing how it develops for all of us.
Yeah, this is one of those, especially the one with communion, one of those instances where a pandemic forces us to reevaluate what we believe and why we believe it, because especially as Baptists, grown up Baptists from young all the way till now, we have such a rigid view of communion that really doesn't come from Scripture. It comes from tradition. And so now the things that we've discussed, the things we've talked about, these are getting back to the origins of let's be biblical, but let's still find the meaning of communion as the body of Christ together. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. And we hope to hear from our folks that participate in each of these weeks and each of these steps, and look forward to some interaction in that way. So anyways, looking forward to Sunday. Hope that you'll be able to join us either on our live stream or here in person. It'll be a great day and a great time for us to start a series together. So I look forward to being a part of your worship come Sunday.
See ya.